Welcome to Guiding Principles for DL, Strand 1 Program Structure, presented by Karina Beltran, Lorena Patterson, Lane Servin-Sapien, and Erica Villanueva. According to Guiding Principles, program structure needs to have a few components: vision, goals, equity, leadership, model design, refinement, and planning. The following slides will make an attempt to make this unit approachable and explain these components in program structure.
Strand 1 informs us that dual language schools' visions need to have a cohesive school-wide shared vision because it establishes the expectation for student achievement for students, parents, educators, anybody that has firsthand experience with the model. It needs to have instructional focus and commitment shared by all. So it is not just the responsibility of the educator or of the student, but it's a overall school-wide commitment. The goals of dual language education should be to have bilingualism, biliteracy, and social cultural competence. This means that we need to have focus on not just their language acquisition, their literacy development, but also that social aspect of it. It needs to be enriched models, non-remedial. This means we're looking more towards an additive program that creates that by literacy instead of just an ESL model. And they recommend for it to be a K through 12 instructional pathway.
Guiding Principles makes it a point in their blurb about equity to outline the importance of any program, in that the students need to have equity in the program. Well, like anything else, if people aren't engaged and excited about what they're learning or about the community that they're a part of, there's no buy-in. So especially in programs where there's bilingualism being taught or multilingualism being taught, we need to be explicit about engaging students in a social manner. Social emotional learning is very important, and that's going to be imperative in trying to show these students another type of language or helping them gain academic language in a language that is not their home language, their L1. So if we're going to show this partner language to the students, it's very important that we get them to engage in the community with either guest speakers, bringing in other ELs who have made it and been successful in their own communities, possible store managers or department chairs or district managers, just so they can come and speak to the kids and that they can see their culture outside of the school realm and understand the equity and the importance of their role in the larger community that they'll eventually serve. In equity continued, we realized that successful dual language programs not only value and support the linguistic and cultural diversity of students, but they also attend to the socioeconomic diversity that may exist in the school population. That being said, if you show me your socioeconomic status, I can show you the data that pertains to your school district. So that's being culturally sensitive again to the children, to understanding that hungry students are not students that are going to learn. Children that are not sleeping because they're working are not going to learn. So it's again being sensitive to that, or also understanding that these children might be a little bit better economically, and they'll be able to understand or maybe come with a little bit more academic and better foundations in their home language so that you can teach them higher order thinking skills in the classroom. The role of leaders in programs such as these require a lot of different aspects. Like anything else, you're going to have to provide leadership, hold accountability, provide good professional development for your teachers so that they feel empowered enough to carry out district initiatives and planning. Additionally, it's having a role in the community, speaking to the parents, setting and establishing standards, communicating the expectations for these programs, and making them realize that their child will be undergoing a more rigorous program than they would otherwise, and they might suffer some setbacks as a result. Effective leaders also oversee the program and make sure that it's adaptable and engages everybody involved, and then also that there's that constant ongoing self-reflection for teachers. that is driven by data, such as student learning objectives, and being able to interface with different platforms such as Eduphoria or Datamark or Google Classroom to see if our students are really understanding what they need to be understanding pertaining to the content. In Texas, it's the TEKS, and other states, it might be whatever their districts dedicate for their curriculums. There also needs to be a clear plan from pre-K through 12th. And we do see that in some schools now where children come with the pathway endorsement, but it is the responsibility of the educational leadership to ensure that our classes and that these students are being purposefully scheduled so that they're actually taking courses that will make them feel like they're making gains in terms of their pathway endorsements.
Processes for model design informs us that there needs to be vertical and horizontal alignment in dual language models. This means that there needs to be across and within grade levels alignment. This alignment should include scope and sequence, and alignment with developmentally appropriate practices, and clearly defined language proficiency levels in both languages. This should be across the board for every grade level. It includes district-wide clear description of dual language. So the alignment should not only be on the campus that's implementing it, but district-wide, so that there's a clear goal that we're all working towards. It's mentioned that K through 6 planning should be incorporated or planned, but ideally a K through 12 program would be what's best for our students. In order to select the proper model for dual language that serves the needs of the English learner population, it is recommended that a needs assessment is conducted and analyzed, because only this way will we get an insight to what we're working with and what best practices needs to be part of the model. A needs assessment will ensure that we're making informed decisions based on our population and who we are working with. It's making about program development and instructional issues that support successful student outcomes. These needs assessments should include systematic reviews and literature on effective dual language models, because we want our decisions made for our kiddos to be based on truth and facts and research, and not just what we think might work best. If we plan a model prior to implementation, we avoid making major changes throughout the school year. So we want to make sure that whatever we choose as our model is going to be the one we're going to follow throughout the rest of the year. A planned, cohesive, and accurate model that serves our students adequately.
If we're looking at the bigger vision of multilingualism and multiculturalism for dual language programs, it's important to notice that our programs offer additive bilingualism, meaning that the students are provide the opportunity to gain mastery and understanding of that second language without sacrificing their culture and their home language. And we find that when we put students in immersive programs where they lose their home language and we completely X that out, there aren't any long-term gains. They don't perform well on standardized tests. They end up not being great academic students in their newly acquired language. So we really want to build up that home language as well, especially when students are lacking any type of foundational skills. If a child wasn't taught to read in their home language, more likely than not, they were not going to be great readers in their L2. So it's very important that we build literacy and we do it side by side. In the text, they refer to it as additive bilingualism. And we also want to make sure that our parents understand that the durations of the programs that they're putting their children in, they are a pre-K to 12th grade program. That is where we're going to see the most gains. That's where we're going to see the most growth. Additionally, language allocation is very important. As I was saying, you're going to have different models of language allocation. We have the 90-10 model, where students are given 90% instruction in their home language, and then 10% is given in that partner language. We also have the 50-50, where obviously you'd be doing 50% in the home language, 50% in the desired or partner language. So we have those two models, and it depends on the district and the company that these children are involved in to make those decisions for the students and see what best suits their particular demographics. In doing so, we can ensure that students gain equity and are able to approach the partner language and lower their affective filter so they're more comfortable practicing their partner language as well, and purposeful academic discussions. Implementation in dual language programs needs to be clearly committed to a vision and a goal for bilingualism and biliteracy, while paying special attention to social cultural competence. So what we want to make sure in these programs is that they are grounded in sound theory. We're not going to make a program that's explicitly driven and derived to make sure that we get good STAR tests or that we get distinguished on our school report card every single year. These programs really need to be guided for a much bigger vision, again, as making bilingualism, biliteracy approachable for our students. Additionally, instruction in these programs in a well-set program is proactive, not remedial. So we're not going to make moves after the students are failing or wait to do interventions before we see those gaps. So there's going to be a lot of relationship with teachers and their data, students staying true to their data. If a student is exhibiting a struggle with higher order thinking skills such as inferencing or understanding literary terms, well then as educators we need to be proactive in explicitly teaching vocabulary, doing think, pair, shares, allowing students to have commentary and relationships with that vocabulary so that we can make sure that we're getting quality outcomes. The quality of implementation is going to equal a quality outcome. Additionally, consistency is key. We want to make sure that we're empowering teachers through professional development and not constantly going into the classrooms to offer criticism, but just good feedback on what is being done right, what can be done better, and ultimately what the higher vision. PLC is also a great opportunity for these teachers to work together and share ideas and pedagogy on how to get the students on where they need to be. So again, we don't want to be remedial, we want to be proactive. Thank you for listening. Our references are derived from Guiding Principles for Dual Language Education, 3rd edition by Howard, Lindholm, Leary, Rogers, and Olag, Medina, Kennedy, and Sugarman, and Christian. Have a great day.